You're watching the Star News Update. I'm Alycia Lim. The High Court has allowed Kelantan Prince Tengku Muhammad Fakhri Sultan Ismail Petra to enter a judgment in default against his estranged wife, Manohara Pinot, and her mother after they failed to engage new lawyers in his 105 million ringgit defamation suit against them. This means Manohara and her mother, Daisy Fajarina, will have to pay damages to Tengku Fakhri for defaming him. However, the court has yet to determine the amount the two would have to pay. Manohara fled from her husband on May 31st when they were in Singapore to visit the Sultan of Kelantan at the Mount Elizabeth Hospital. She returned to Jakarta after accusing the prince of physical and sexual abuse. Her claims were widely reported in the Indonesian and Malaysian media. Malaysia should brace for a possible second wave of influenza AH1N1 after reports of the disease resurfaced in the Northern Hemisphere, and the United States announced an alert. Health Minister Datuk Sri Liow says the surveillance team set up when the first AH1N1 cases appeared in Malaysia are still in place and will continue to monitor all cases of the flu. He says thermal scanners at all entry points into the country are still in operation.
Ya, kita masih ada scanning di pintu masuk KLIA. Kita tidak mengambil ringan tentang wabak H1N1 ini. Kita telah pun mengambil langkah-langkah berjaga-jaga dan kita tetap akan memastikan wabak ini dapat dipantau dari masa ke semasa dengan tepat. Ya.
He said this at a press conference after launching the ministry's Innovation Day celebrations in Putrajaya. Liow says the spread of the AH1N1 virus has slowed tremendously over the last few months, from 400 to 500 cases a day to just between 20 and 30 cases a day now. The Public Accounts Committee's recommendation for Tan Sri Chan Kong Choi and Datin Paduka O.C. Pang to be investigated shows the government is practicing transparency and accountability in its governance. Transport Minister Datuk Sri Ong Keat says the government is walking the talk when the PAC asked for a probe against the former Transport Minister, the then Port Klang Authority General Manager and several others.
No, in fact, I think it's not for me to say I'm happy or not, but I'm glad to say one point. I'm glad to say one point that when we talk about transparency, when we talk about accountability, this is it, and the government is now walking the talk.
He told a press conference after visiting the Bangsa LRT station Thursday. Ong says the PAC is an independent body in the parliament and has his full cooperation when it carries out investigation. The Federal Court dismissed an application by former Perak Menteri Besar, Datuk Sri Muhammad Nizar Jamaluddin, to have a full panel of 11 judges hear his appeal. The application was against the Court of Appeal's decision declaring his successor, Datuk Sri Dr. Zamri Abdul Kadir, as the valid Menteri Besar. Instead, a 5-man panel will hear the appeal. In dismissing Nizar's application, Justice Alauddin Muhammad Sharif says the Court of Appeal had considered the submissions by his lawyer, Dato' S. Ambiga. Justice Alauddin did not make any order as to the cost. The appeal proper is being heard now. An amendment to the Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka DBP Act 1959 will be tabled at the Cabinet next year to give DBP enforcement powers to enhance the use of Bahasa Malaysia. Deputy Education Minister Dr. Muhammad Puat Zakashi says the amendment is being checked by the ministry's legal advisors. He says the amendment needs to be implemented, giving the lessening use of Bahasa Malaysia in society. He added that before the Act is amended, it is important to identify what needs to be done urgently in terms of DBP manpower, programs and projects for the language. He said this after officiating the DBP Quality Day in Kuala Lumpur. For more updates, log on to thestaronline.tv. I'm Alycia Lim. Thanks for watching.